It's my 6th night in hospital, and I cannot sleep. The right side of my jaw is still blown up to the size of my fist, and 3 different doctors can't tell me what is wrong with it or how to get rid of it. And as I pace, alone in the dark garden outside the hospital entry, back and forth and back, pondering the meaning of this, it comes to me. What if the reason the doctors can't figure out the cause of my sickness is that it isn't completely medical? What if the lump in my jaw is the result of something I'm not saying? Something trapped in my communication that is making me sick? But what could it possibly be? I mean, in my inativity training and coaching, I lead sessions to hundreds of people all over the world. They know me as someone who can't shut up. I've come up with many original ideas designed to simplify seemingly complex things. For example, the word inativity that I used just a moment ago. You probably didn't understand it, but why would you? You just heard it for the first time. Inativity, right? Inativity. I made it up. Inativity is the combination of the words innovation and creativity. It's also a recognition that things that don't seem to go together well often do. Now that's important, so hold on to that thought. Many people think of creativity and innovation as almost opposites. They think creativity is about, say, the arts, and innovation is about technology. But that is not the case. See, it's a lot simpler than that. Creativity is about thinking, and innovation is about action. Creativity and innovation are not opposites. They can't be, because they're driven by the exact same thing. Creativity means thinking differently from yourself, and innovation means acting differently from yourself. They're just 2 parts of one process that begins with confronting a challenge and ends with sorting it out. Now, some people call that process problem solving. I call it inativity. Creativity means thinking differently from yourself, and innovation means acting differently from yourself. The great innovators in history have changed the way they think and acted repeatedly during their careers. Picasso pursued 7 radically different styles, 7, in his first 30 professional years. The Beatles changed the face of music with every album they released. Pick the innovator who inspires you, and you'll see it's similar. Could be Leonardo da Vinci or Hedy Lamarr or Prince or Taylor Swift. You'll see that they innovated themselves again and again and again. And you can innovate yourself too. In fact, the most important innovation you will ever make is to innovate yourself, endlessly and repeatedly. And that's the idea worth spreading here. Now, how do you innovate yourself? It's actually pretty easy. And we'll get to that in a few minutes. First, let me continue my story, because there in the dark, all alone, with the night ticking away and the moon casting its gray shadow over me, I'm thinking, what am I afraid of exactly? Because we all know that the only thing that ever stops us from speaking up is fear. But is it? I mean, yes, sure, there are thousands of reasons to be afraid to say what needs saying. Saying the wrong thing the wrong way at the wrong time to the wrong person has cost people their lives, sometimes millions of people. At the same time, not speaking up often costs far more. Because everything important that ever happened in human history started by someone saying something. You know, professionals say there are only five basic human emotions: joy, sadness, disgust, anger, and fear. Now, notice this. Of these 5, 4 are negative: sadness, disgust, anger, and fear. Only one, joy, is positive. Now, are we as human beings that bad that 80% of our emotions are negative? I prefer to believe that joy is so powerful that it can balance 4 times its weight in negativity. People simplify this and say there are only 2 things motivating people, love and fear. It's become kind of a pop song cliche, really. In his song Cautious Man, Bruce Springsteen sings, "On his right hand, Billy tattooed the word love, on his left hand, the word fear. And in which hand he held his fate was never clear." It's pretty simple, actually. Where there is fear, there is no love. And where there is love, there is no fear. They're opposites. Except, it turns out, they're not. Dr. Yelena Radulovic of Northwestern University showed in a study already a decade ago that the hormone oxytocin is the basis of both love and fear. Meaning, it's easier to transform fear into love than you think, since they're generated by the exact same thing. I think fear and love are partners, not opposites. They're part of a process, just like innovation and creativity. Both love and fear, driven by oxytocin, are triggers for installing memories. Fear can also help us speak. Fear of not being heard, or fear of what might happen if we stay quiet. And love in the form of compassion, often prevents us from speaking honestly. So sitting there, a little calmer, as the sky is beginning to lighten up, I am too, and I'm thinking this. Neither love nor fear are the source of speaking up. Inactivity is. Inactivity. Innovating yourself to get past whatever's blocking you. The truth is, when you're stuck, it doesn't matter what the reason is. What matters is to get unstuck and avoid becoming sick. So, how do you innovate yourself? You start by thinking differently from how you are already thinking. Then, take new actions, because action is also a form of speaking. Now, if you struggle, you can model yourself on someone else. It could be one of the innovators I mentioned earlier. It could be anyone you admire or respect, really. Ask yourself what they would say, then think, say, and do those things. And so, as the sun breaks the dawn horizon, glinting across my cheeks, my jaw's still swollen, but I'm smiling a little underneath it, because I have realized a new vision, and that is this. What I am doing right now, at this moment, is the healing I need. Sharing the story with you. Sharing this simple idea. The most important innovation you will ever make is to innovate yourself. So whenever you're stuck, innovate yourself. The doctors eventually sorted my jaw out. But the experience provided a metaphor I will always remember. A metaphor more powerful than oxytocin, to remind me that I have to say what is needed, no matter how much it hurts me. Because one word leads to another word, and one action leads to another action, while inaction just leads to more inaction, and wordlessness just leads to more silence. Innovate yourself.